get a buzz cut. I can hold my chest high, deepen my voice. I can. This is a part of the exterior flesh suit in different ways that I can express myself in different areas of a spectrum. However, the identity is look at it as if this is a flesh suit. The identity is pressing the buttons. The identity is pulling the levers. And the identity is like, you know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. If that does not make sense, just say it and I can keep going. You know what I'm saying? Gotta simplify. Right, simple way is always the easiest. Right? Right. It's so easy. Let's take an example. Let's take an example. I'm trying to think of an obvious example. It's like my brain gets it, but it's hard to describe because even when I'm describing it, you'll have the structure and barriers of like society's norm of what. See, even when we start talking about masculine and feminine, y'all think men and women. So like you have to like peel some layers back to really get what I'm saying. That's why it's so hard to talk about what I'm saying. Because if you're still thinking men and women, it's like I gotta peel the layers back for you to really get shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like you really just gotta get it, right? Okay. It'd even get deeper of why nowadays. No, I don't even want to mention that. I don't even want to mention that. I don't even want to mention that. I'm gonna say it anyway. It is what it is. So you know how some people change, like physically change. Right, transform. That's because now what they are doing is completely going into that identity. Completely. And it's the norm. Why? Because science can do it. You look at like Prince, like let's take Prince for example. Prince did not transform, right? But he had a super feminine persona, very masculine identity. Even so much so he said he feels like he has two identities to him. Like he believes in zodiac, not zodiacs and like, you know, when you born type shit, but like zodiacs and like the theory, like into the theory of like the soul and the personality, etc. And how like, so now we're about to get deep, and how like he felt like he had two people inside of him. Like he felt like he had a whole alter ego and shit like that. But he identified with the balance between the two. He never like he played between them. He never like chose one and then flipped it like people do now. Like, you know what I'm saying? We don't look at it as like a balance or I am who I am and it is what it is. And it's, you know, I can change my personality. I can change how I dress. I can change how I talk. I can change how I move my voice. I can change like all these things. But do I need to change like what I came with? Well, if I want to identify closer with my identity and how I feel, I will. Right? Because maybe all the exterior things aren't enough. Maybe I'm gonna change something else. Remember, that's also still exterior, right? But like that's just they going through a surgical thing. But that's the identity, and their identity is so outside of themselves that it takes over everything. Which is why I even would say I think it becomes a bad thing. Even for the opposite. Let's take a woman for example. Like, as long as it's natural and you embody it, you do not. It's like you won't even have to change something like that about yourself. It's so hard to describe without even talking about it. How do you become more creative? Let's check this. Let's watch this, right? What do y'all think the opposite of creativity is? Right. Right. Logical. Exactly. So I remember earlier how y'all said, "Wow, do you think all these rappers be so feminine and all that?" Well, they're creative people. You think of someone who's very logical. You don't think of someone who's very creative. Now they tie creativity into intelligence. Being able to think a lot and come up with different things, right? But like forms of expression and being like connected with yourself in a way where how like you can just express yourself in an artistic way, that's feminine. Because a more masculine side or a more masculine way of thinking is like logic, analysis, not descriptive, not like qualitative, right? Is this making sense, chat? Is it making sense? Is it possible for someone to change their personality from to introvert to extrovert because it kind of seems like identity won't let them? No. You'll know it. You'll know it doesn't feel right. You'll know it doesn't feel right. For example, I'm introverted at heart. But I'll go in a room and you'll never even know I'm extroverted. Introverted, because I'm like going around talking to people, hey, how you doing? And I'm mentioning that, but that's confidence. That's my confidence. I'm not shy, right? But I benefit in one-on-one interactions, intense, focused situations. I don't benefit from a huge public group. Right? I'll do better when it's just me and that woman. Real low, calm, seductive. I benefit more in my seductive energy. Right? An extrovert will benefit in more social, wide array of a setting. They can be more charismatic. Charisma is like an AOE. It's attack all areas spread out. Seduction is more like